but you've got both. You've got more power and more ammo. What's not to like? Hey folks, welcome back to Bullets and Brass. Today I am making it up to my 40 Smith & Wesson guys. You have put up with me giving you a hard time for the past few videos, and to some extent it's one of those issues that goes both directions. Everything I said in the prior videos about essentially talking up 9mm is absolutely true, but if you're willing to tolerate that recoil, if you are a man with average or larger hands, decent physical strength in your wrists and hands, or a woman with above average hands, the main issue is usually that you simply have to be able to hang on to it well enough and control the recoil. So even if you have average hands and average strength, if you're willing to practice enough, it's fine. 40 is a great option. It really is hard to beat. You just have to deal with the couple minor issues, and they're definitely minor. It's not some extreme caliber. So let's get into it. First, the really basic, obvious stuff. You've got more power than 9mm. You've got more power than 45 ACP. You've got on par power with pretty much anything that is considered normal for carry or service handgun. You've got to get into really niche, high power stuff for 40 not to be able to keep up. Now, maybe it requires going to plus P. You're not going to have like the FBI load where they actually downloaded it. But the bullet weight range and the power range available, particularly if you don't have one of the early Glocks or other unsupported chambers where you can go into the plus P realm, it's really impressive. I have never had any question in my head, is 40 Smith & Wesson good enough? Is there enough power? The whole short and weak thing really boils down to A, 10mm guys with sour grapes, B, people who wanted the full power of 40 Smith & Wesson and then got fed reduced loads and told it was enough. Yeah, if you download 40 Smith & Wesson to 9mm levels, it's short and weak compared to what it could be. The bullet weight range is key because it does let you run from basically 9mm power levels through really wild power levels. If you push a 180 grain bullet to the max pressure you can get out of that case without blowing the case apart, you really got a lot of power. Even from the light ones all the way through the heavy ones gives you enough momentum, which, remember, there's kinetic energy and there's momentum. They're two different kinds of energy. The bullet weights on 40 give you that option. They give you a range that is all better than 9mm for momentum, with speeds that are basically 9mm speeds. Ammunition capacity, perfectly adequate. I know it's one of the things that I poo-pooed in my other video, but I was talking about it from the perspective of the agencies involved, not the general public purchasing an EDC gun. Let's face it, the average person shooting 40 Smith & Wesson does not care that they lost a couple rounds over 9mm. If they get to the bottom of their first mag, what the hell are they doing? You know, if you are in a self-defense scenario, what in the world did you get yourself into? Like, this is not Mad Max. Now, us 1911 guys, if you're carrying a compact 1911, okay, yeah, you might actually have an ammo issue, you know, capacity issue. That's another story. One way you could look at it is the extra 9mm rounds in a larger capacity magazine are wasted energy. That is wasted potential energy because you're not going to shoot them. In your normal situation, your normal self-defense scenario, it's a few shots. I think you're good. So, and that's per person. You know, that's the person defending themselves. So, if your 9mm compact, you know, carry gun carries 9 or 10 or 15, That's a lot of wasted potential energy versus carrying larger rounds where, yeah, you give up some, but you still got way more than that average, but each one does more. You're getting more energy per shot that you actually use. And then on the other side of this, if you need more than the average number of rounds, 45 ACP, you've got fewer rounds than 40 Smith & Wesson. You have less power per round. If you carry hot 40, you are absolutely kicking 45's butt. And you've got more rounds. You may not need them, but you've got both. You've got more power and more ammo. What's not to like? The next part of the ammo situation for 40 is it's between 9mm and 45 in price. It's not as cheap as 9mm, but it's not as expensive as 45 by a good margin. Now, when you start talking, how do you get more? 40 Smith & Wesson is more than 9mm, more than 45. It's more power. Well, what if you keep going? Well, then you start really getting into the realm of it's not just average or slightly better than average needs. You start getting into the truly extraordinary. The recoil impulse that most of them generate is extremely uncomfortable. You're talking, hot 44 Magnum, hot 10mm. These are things where people go, holy shit. They shoot it and they're surprised by the amount of recoil. They shoot a magazine and they're like, okay, I'm done. These are things that are a lot of fun if you enjoy that kind of recoil and if you enjoy that muzzle flash, and it's an experience, right? It's like shooting a 12 gauge shotgun the first time as a kid. It's just a visceral experience. But 40 really peaks out. In terms of the realm of practical use, 40 can push that envelope because you can load it right to the limit of the brass case. The case will literally, you can push the envelope to the point where the case fails, which is why you don't see a lot of plus P and you don't see any plus P plus, because plus P in older gen Glocks, or even a lot of the earlier other brands, will literally fail. You will destroy the gun, you will, blow out cases. It will be a bad thing. Later models all went to supported chambers, and you can run plus P relatively reliably. Consult your manufacturer. You're already at that limit. It's not like 9mm where like plus P plus, and you're still got some wiggle room before you blow up the gun. No, you can blow up the gun with 40 Smith & Wesson if you're stupid. It's not like 45 ACP where plus P plus is still just getting to standard 9mm and 40 Smith & Wesson pressures. Compared to those niche calibers, compared to those higher power calibers, it's cheap. You don't need a custom gun. You're not doing something that manufacturing is measured in the hundreds. You're looking at ammo that is commonly available and is very affordable, not something where it's $1 or $2 a round and not available at the average shop, or not available in any kind of variety, where you're relying on somebody like Buffalo Bore to even get ammo. That's pretty much all I've got. All in all, if you are not small and weak, 40 Smith & Wesson can be a great option for you. If you're willing to practice the small additional amount that is needed over 9mm to really be comfortable with 40 Smith & Wesson, go to town. If you don't have a physical limitation that makes 40 Smith & Wesson a problem, go to town. It is a great caliber. I think that the issues that are pushing it out of the law enforcement market, the military market, don't apply to a large number of the EDC folks, because the average gun buyer, they might think they're going to EDC, but do they really? A year in, are they really carrying that gun? Versus the folks that really do carry most of the time, go to the range regularly, they won't have any problem with 40. It's just not going to be an issue. You're going to get all the benefits and not care about any of the negatives. So power to you. Enjoy your 40. Take care, have fun, keep shooting, folks.